On today's episode, we're joined by Juan Diaz, founder and director of Nowhere Coffee in Colombia. From his start as a barista in Florida to building a global sourcing and roasting network, we dive into KYC retreats, the misconceptions around direct trade, and how more producers in Colombia are roasting and selling directly into international markets. This is a candid look at building at origin, bridging communities, and the future of specialty coffee. Welcome to By the Drip, the channel about the people behind the coffee and the passion that fuels it. We're two brothers who spent our lives chasing something deeper than just great coffee. From walking farms in remote corners of the world to training and coaching the last two world barista champions. I'm David Crosby, founder of ROSSO COFFEE ROASTERS, the roaster behind back-to-back world champion wins. And I'm with my brother, Cole Terode, founder of Forward Coffee, sourcing some of the most inspiring coffees from Panama and building lasting relationships at origin. This isn't just a channel about coffee, it's about community, an obsession, and the pursuit of excellence. One cup, one story, one coffee at a time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to By the Drip. I am joined today with very special guests. I got my good friend Juan Diaz here to talk to me, director of Nowhere Coffee, based in Medellín, Colombia. Juan, talk to me, man. How you doing? Thanks for being on the show.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Honored to have you here, my man. Honored to have you here. Juan, we're going to dive into, I think, a lot of different subjects today, but we'd love to start with a just super easy question to kind of get the storyboard. How did you get into coffee? How did you find yourself on the pathway, on the journey that you're on here today?
I always say that coffee really adopted me. I moved to Gainesville, Florida to study nursing. I am 38 today, so that was around 2013 when I moved out of Miami, Florida into Gainesville, Florida. And around my second year there, I was 19 years old and I worked as a line cook at one of the restaurants at the University of Florida to become a staff member. I was trying to kind of hustle a system there and get a staff ID. So I was able to use their gym and facilities and be able to actually play basketball that I really love. And then during the time there, I had a sticker on my phone of Panther Coffee. And basically I had that sticker because before college, I used to go to Panther Coffee in Wynwood with friends and stuff out of Miami. Happens to be that the other line cook told me, hey, I love your sticker. My brother is going to open a coffee shop here in Gainesville called Nowhere Coffee. You should come check it out. Come to a cupping with us. And I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, oh, it's like a coffee tasting. So a week into us talking, they invited me to Jacksonville, Florida. And at Bolding Coffee, I had my first introduction to quality coffee at the cupping table. And that's how my journey begins.
At the cupping table.
Yeah.
Spontaneous moment at the cupping table.
Yeah. I think I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have a background Starbucks or commercial cafe story. It was first day, they were sourcing multi-roasters. And I got to taste everything Bolding was offering at the time. It was a fun experience. It was odd. I honestly did not care at that moment.
And how did that work? You're working this role at the university. You're working as a line cook. You've got your buddy in the restaurant that has taken you to the cupping. And did you decide in that moment that, coffee is for you, the kitchen is not? You want to get out of one and into the other? Or what did that journey look like?
So I don't know if the kitchen was ever for me. I think I did have dreams actually of being a chef, which is probably why I was in there in the first place. The way that happened is just I remember it was a Sunday. He told me, hey, my brother, Alfonso, this is Alfonso and Rodrigo. They're like, hey, they're from Nicaragua, by the way. They said, hey, come to this cupping. We're sourcing new roasters. We want to meet you to see if maybe we could hire you for this new cafe we're opening. At that moment, I didn't think much of it. I remember some of the coffees. The main coffee I never forget was an SL28 wash coffee that really stood out for me on the table. And it was just because it was the only coffee that I could say I learned to cup first. It was, it was high in saltiness. It was savory, had tomato notes. And I was like, what is this? Why Why is this so different compared to other coffees? At the time as well, there's a guy there named, I forget, John, I think it was. He was putting like minute and a half espresso shots from the original Slayer. Like Slayer espresso had come out. It was before any buyout. It was like when this thing was just like purely naked, you know. Um, and I thought it was very interesting. But honestly, for my first year in coffee, I didn't care much for it. I thought it was just another job. I had a place I could study, a place I could have some coffee, a place I could meet my friends, and that's what it was.
So at this point, you're more focused on school. You're more focused on the education of becoming a nurse then? Or your
Yes, I'm more
focus is
focused on. Yeah, my focus is in various areas. So that's funny. Uh, about a year and a half or a year to college. So I started nowhere coffee. I remember I had my first motorcycle. I was building cafe racers in a friend's garage in the summers. And it was my first bike, 1976 XJ600 that I built out, chopped it up, made it into the bike of my dreams at the time with no money, a $2,000 bike. And that's what I was doing. I was really sometimes just skipping class or leaving anatomy way too early to go ride. And that was my life. It was, really half-assing school at one point, having coffee and just riding motorcycles. It was a big, big part of my life from the time I was 19 to about 22.
Okay. Wow. And you're still a big biker today. Yeah. I know you've rented bikes on some of your travels and done some cool road trips and gone around and seen the coast, I believe you've said.
Yeah, yeah. I think we are probably talking about the BBC Greece that I rented a motorcycle out in Athens. It was amazing. One of the most amazing trips that I had. I did the entire coast of Greece basically in a couple of days. But yeah, all over the world. I've done Peru, of course, a lot of Colombia. I started in Colombia with a bike before I had the famous KWC Montero. But yeah, it's a big part of my life and a big part of the reason I am in coffee, actually.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. So you go to this cupping at a place called Nowhere Coffee. You join the team. You're in Gainesville, Florida. Let's fast forward 10 years later. You're a director at Nowhere Coffee. You're based in Medellín. What was Nowhere Coffee then, and what is it now, and what's that sort of progress been like for you and for the business?
Yes, that's a loaded question.
That's a long question, man. It's like we got a whole podcast that we can talk about it on.
Yeah, yeah. And 10 years ago, Nora Coffee was a multi-roaster coffee shop located in Gainesville, Florida. We source from Florida originals like Panther Coffee, Bold Bean Coffee, Buddy Brew, um, places out in Orlando that are just slipping my mind right now. Lineage Coffee Roasters we had on our menu. We even had these people called Junior's Coffee Roasters, which is incredible. Junior's Coffee Roasters is by one of the roasters that now does Barista Guild. I'm forgetting his name, lovely guy.
Okay.
He actually started roasting at Heart, and then um, I met him out there as well. So that's what KWC was over 10 years ago. And I was just a manager there in the cafe. KWC today, oh, KWC today is incredible. Finding like speaking the fruits of a lot of labor, a lot of years of competition, working in cafes. We are a network that sources coffee to order, mostly for the US in bigger volumes, but we are global, especially the last 3 years. I've opened Europe. In Europe, we sell coffee to Italy, Spain, Greece. I've reached a little bit of Northern Europe as well, all the way up to the UK. Just recently, in the last 2 years, I've hit the Asian market, selling coffee in Korea, and now China. So we're a global coffee network built from producers, roasters, and professional baristas based in Medellín. Our job is really to curate where coffee goes intentionally for people, to order. No, we buy everything outright. We're kind of like a quality control team at Origin for you. You tell me what you need, what's the profile, and we source it.
Is that what you mean when you say to order? Is I tell you my needs and you'll kind of fit the bill of the checklist I need to put together, or you'll build a coffee with a producer to meet those needs?
No, we do have a base network, which we call KWC Originals, built from smallholders. And then we do have like a major part of our producing network, which are big names. I work with Wilson Benitez from Garanja Paraíso, Oscar Hernandez, Los Nogales. Today coming up, Edison Argote from Quebraditas, right? These are our base. KWC Originals are smaller holders, not so much of a big name. Carlos Guzman, Luis Calderon has been in the mix, Alejandra Angel, these names. But yes, Cole, what we do is we don't hold any coffee. If you tell me I need a Sudan Reme from this region, this profile, even this price, depending on our values and our value system that we align, my job is to make sure that gets to our cupping table and to your sample list.
Okay.
So we're a pipeline. We get samples from all over the country all the time. And we are able to curate the quality cafes that this goes to. So I just really try to study the market with my global kind of, I don't want to say intelligence, but study of the market in all areas, from what baristas like, how people are roasting, my country, my region, my place, and then I place the coffees that I believe are best fitting there. I'm not gonna send somewhere where they love wash, mild coffees, these crazy naturals, cold ferments, right? It's kind of like that. So I source really to order. I see you smile because there's a big niche for that right now. Everything that's
I'm
going on in
smiling.
Colombia.
No, I'm smiling at the thought of somebody that loves a washed, soft, delicate coffee getting a big co-ferment and just taking a sip and going, whoop, whoop, hello. So tell me a little bit more about that. How does that work? I want a co-fermented coffee. How do we have that conversation? Your model is very different to maybe any model that sort of exists out there that at least I'm aware of. So give me a bit more of a rundown on, I'm a new customer client onboarding into KWC's system. I want to source a crazy co-fermented coffee. I want it with passion fruit and pineapple if possible. Do we just start with that conversation and then you kind of mix and match me with a different producer, or what does that flow through look like?
Yeah, so the flow it goes through now is when I started Nowhere Coffee, I realized after Fukawa, um, free samples shouldn't be a thing, especially for very quality coffee.
I
I just
agree.
couldn't budget it at the time. So today, the pipeline, what it does, you go to kwbccoffee.com, you'll see an offer list, no prices, no volume, no scores, no flavor profile. People go through that, they go, hey, this caught my eye, or what does this taste like? They probably ask me about 3 to 6 coffees. And I do actually a background check for everybody that we source for. What is a background check? Have a phone meeting, FaceTime meeting, but I also look at their socials, be it personal socials or Instagram socials, just to see, is this a real person? Is this a real cafe?
Right.
After that, I think the next question is, shouldn't always be the first, but honestly, I know roasters might not want to hear, but they want a price. They want a good price. So say for a co-ferment, I'm going to ask them what kind of base do they want? Do they want couture base, pink bourbon, geisha? What do they want the base of the co-ferment and quality to be? Because there's different levels to the quality of the co-ferment. Do you want your co-ferment to smack you in the face and tell you this is very infused and totally co-fermented and maybe using flavoring? Or do you want it to be subtle? That's what I would ask. And then after that, I would ask volume. Once I get the volume, our minimum is 10 kilos. Our minimum sometimes for people in Asia is 5 kilos, which also
Oh,
makes
well.
it a good niche for small roasters coming up. It is a lot of work. This will change the price, but it's fair because if I package 5 kilos, it costs me the same to package 10 to 12 kilos. After that, I'll ask someone to commit to us. How is paying for samples, paying for shipping, of course, and the samples. It's really US and Canada based, but if you're in Asia, which happens all the time, we've been sourcing coffee for Singapore, Vietnam. They order samples and they pay me the difference directly, direct deposit on the shipping, and then they get their samples. Some people that are farther want to get more samples. So if you want more samples, we share some emails, and those are the steps that it takes. I do not release any pricing until you get the coffee, until we talk about the coffee, until I get some feedback on the coffee. At least, so like, hey, I like it or didn't like it. I
Okay.
try to stay away from giving too much prices out. Mostly the reason is because I treat every market unique. What does that mean? I study the markets even in the US. I cannot charge a New York roaster the same that I charge a tiny roaster in Florida, someone in Georgia. I have to check what area code they're in, who's their public, what's the flow of their cafes, are they in LA? Are they in big coffee areas that pay premium dollar for coffee? Because I want to help them
Okay.
out. I can't charge everybody the same. And then after that, just easy, just try to make it easy as possible. I think one of our huge banners for KWC is we want to facilitate coffee all over the world. We just want to make it as easy as possible. So it's to the cart. For people listening, we don't have holding houses. There is no age crop in my hands. There is no me holding 5 containers of these different coffees. No, the moment that you put an order in is the moment that I reach out to the producer. I ask him to mail. If he already has his coffee milled, it's shipped to our facility and then shipped to you.
Well, I got a lot of questions. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want, wherever you feel.
I need 100.
I
I
know
need
it's a lot.
100 kilos of that. I need 100 kilos of that passion fruit co-ferment. Pink Bourbon base.
Easy. Pink Bourbon beans. Easy.
I love it. It sounds somewhat like you're moving a little bit off the a la carte world, but you're still making that available. And then there's just what sounds like a lot more curation and customization to build. I think you used the language earlier, intentional coffees, to get intentional coffees into people's hands. Is that correct in
Yes.
sort of the flow state?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so one thing that I want to question there that I find fascinating that you mentioned, different pricing model to different clients around the world. I completely agree with you that the cost of a cup of coffee in different markets is going to be different, but a lot of that dependent on operational expenditures based on geography, right? How does the market react when you mention that? Do you talk about that? Is that something that people are open to the discussion of, or how does that dialogue usually go with clients, if at all?
When clients want to start negotiating on pricing, I 80% of that price is really based on how much coffee you need and how the cost of production of you getting that coffee is going to be. So, for example, the example you just used, King Bourbon co-ferment passion fruit. It's something that I know is
Yeah.
not on hand because usually co-ferments are Couture or Castillo based. So that's going to have a higher quality coffee in it, which is going to higher the price. Now,
Yeah.
you're asking about how is the conversation going to go in the area? Well, I've traveled enough and been in enough areas where, depending on where you're reaching out and what I see, and depending on the pricing that you're looking for, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
most of the time, the conversation doesn't go like, "Oh, I'm going to raise your price here in LA." No, it means you're coming at me really low, then you're going to expect a very low quality quote from it.
I see.
And I'm
It's
going to tell
more
you
the
if I have it, or I'm
expectation
going to
that
tell
the
you if I don't have
buyer
it.
is setting the other way.
Yeah, yeah. I let all the
Okay.
buyers, I let them all set the expectation of where they're at. But I always leave
Okay.
it really open where I'm like, does this work for you in your cafe? Of course, after some commitment, buying samples, a couple more orders. We don't do turns. It's a big thing
Okay.
that, allows my company to stay organic. We don't do 30, 40 days. Anyone that has those terms have been buying for us for years.
It's tough, man, being in the green coffee space. The financial model, the cash flow, the flow through of all of that. It's scary, right? Terms are a tough thing to give out for little guys like you and I, moving amongst giants in the world of green coffee. It's like it's tough to give out terms and that sort of thing. So I appreciate that you kind of draw the line on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's something I'm learning more and more, but I found my way of, a big thing that I heard in one of your podcasts for the gentleman in Apex was, what is direct trade? You know, and what does this mean on the coffee supply chain?
Yeah.
And man, I had that crazy story where when I came to Colombia, I had the wrong idea. I wanted to come teach people how to process without even knowing how to process, just so they knew how to cup coffee. I came with the
Yeah.
idea of like, I'm going to come teach them. I came with the idea of like, forget all these importers and exporters. You don't need them. You can send direct. And then I was like, no, you don't. No, you
Yeah.
cannot get rid of them. They need to exist. And there's the rules and there's laws that as a barista back then, I just wasn't thinking about. And I found my place in the supply chain where I was like, all right, where do I belong? Because I'm not a producer. I don't plan on buying any land and becoming a producer. And I realized that coffee growers and producers did need someone like me to represent them. And they just needed an easier pipeline that's not going to BS them and pay them their money as quick as possible, or at least get a real explanation of what's going on outside. So they could focus on producing, they could focus on growing if that's what they want. And yeah, sorry, I went a little tangent there. But yeah, that's what I've been kind of studying for the last 5 years.
I honestly, man, I think that's so important. It's I had the same mindset at the beginning. My first trip was 2015. I went to Costa Rica, Guatemala, and I'm thinking I'm going to go there. I'm going to be picking the coffee. You stand over here, like we're going to process this, and then I realized, no, I'm not. I'm not going to add any value in the production or agriculture and your farm. Like I can share ideas with you, but I'm not going to come here and tell you how to do your job. And I think so many buyers have this idea that direct trade is like, I'm going to come tell you how to do your job and then tell my clients that I do his job and I do my job. And it's like, I'll build off the backbone of this funny narrative that I control these people and the operations on their farms and that sort of thing. So I really appreciate what you just said, that, you're adding value on sort of a soft layer on top of what they're doing, and you're bringing their narrative, their story, their dialogue, and their intention to the world through the skill set that you and your team have to bring light to that and bring additional value into the space of the coffee producer.
For sure, I think a big thing there that I think that we lack, that we're working on a lot, to be so really honest with you, is I think part of it is personal, and another part is just it's been washed away. We don't do stories, man. I think that I tell roasters when they ask for a PDF on a story before, I just don't have them. I ask the producer at the moment. I don't, as a representative, my representation is to get you the information as easy as possible, the real information. So we don't really do
Okay.
much storytelling with our coffees. I tell people we sell quality coffee to quality people. And I think if you're sourcing with KWC, you could understand a little bit of what's happening at OJ, a little bit of what my place is in the supply chain. And if you want information, some people just got to wait a little bit until the producer could actually get it to me. Thanks to today's day with ChatGPT, I straight up send whatever they send me. If it's a WhatsApp message, if it's their PDF, if it's in English, I proofread here and there, but I'm like, hey man, Uva, send me this. And they're like, oh, is there
Yeah.
anything else? And I'm like, this is what they want to tell me. This is what they want to give me. Do you have a specific question? Um, and it's been hard. We've weeded out a lot of people. A lot of people create their own transparency sheets. They they go and they send us um, different sheets, kind of telling us, oh, um, can you tell us how many dogs they have and how many workers? And I'm like, they don't have this information right now. This is a producer. He's like extremely busy, man. I don't think he wants to tell you what his hobbies are away from coffee right now, or how he got into coffee. And that is how KWC will respond. So kind of things like that. I know it's heavy. I know people don't want to hear it, but I just honestly just always want to get the most raw and real story about every coffee. And I respect them as humans. I think KWC is unique because our group and our team members, and I'm grateful to say me as a leader, I want people to see me as Juan Diaz, not Juan, oh, the Colombian guy. Oh, the guy from the States. I'm a person. My producers,
Mm-hmm.
they're people. They're my business partners.
Mm-hmm.
It's straight business. And then when it's friends, it's friends. And it's a hard thing because I think I lost a lot. And I'm gaining a lot back. I lost a lot of this, folklore story, this passion. And I'm like, dude, producers some of them are just trying to survive. Some of them like love this. Yes, they're having fun. But they're a person, man. You know what? Here's their WhatsApp. Reach out. I'm not even worried about it. You want to ask them crazy, ridiculous questions? Here you go, brothers. Let me know if they get back. My job is to get back to you. They're not going to get back. Trust me. They're busy fermenting
Right.
coffee, trying to sell coffee elsewhere. Today in
Yeah.
Colombia, roasting coffee. Some of the biggest players in the game roast coffee, local and international. And everybody ignores this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to ignore it. I know part of KWC as well, for people listening, we have 4 categories. We also roast at origin. We export to the US. We don't have any cafes, but if they order a bag, I'm going to sell it to them. And we do have our own stock. And I did it to a private brand for other reasons. That's
Okay.
KWC Roasting, same names, another line of it. But it's from learning in Colombia that it's a country with so much access to evolve significantly more than we believe, or that we want to accept. So
Right.
I'm just here to kind of open those gates. I think of what I've been able to learn and the table I've been able to sit, I think I am the person to open those gates for the producers and tell them, hey man, you don't tell me a sad story. I don't need to hear the last 10 years of your life for me to know that your coffee is good or not. Just tell me what you got. Tell me who you are. Away, away from this cup of coffee. Don't tell me any points. Don't tell me, oh my God, I know it's hard. Building KWC was hard. Learning who I wanted to be in the industry is very difficult. So I kind of step away from that a little bit and separate my feelings from coffee a lot.
So the belief direct trade is I'm contacting the producer, I'm paying 100%, every dollar goes into their bank account. They ship that product, export documents, etc. all the way through, goes right to my door. That is direct trade.
Yes, that's direct trade.
Second, I'm now working with some intermediary that is connecting me into that. It's not truly direct trade. Is that
Correct? Yes,
yeah?
that's
So
my opinion, my professional opinion on that.
how do you think I should market that coffee? Let's say I'm a buyer. I'm working with Nowhere Coffee, and the example we used, Edison Argote. You know, I want
Yes.
Edison. I want Edison's coffee. I'm a roaster. I'm working with Nowhere Coffee. What sort of language should I put in my marketing toward that coffee? It's no longer true direct trade, though through Nowhere it is direct Nowhere to Edison.
Yeah.
What do you suggest
The way
there?
that people roast the roasters do it today, I think I think it's similar to you. When somebody gets something from Forward, they know it's of quality. They know it's gone through cupping tables. It's gone through your criteria, and they know that if there's anything wrong with that, you have their back. So what people say is, "Hey, this was sourced through KWC." Some
Okay.
people give me the task. Some people I'm just cupping for. Some people are like, "Juan, you know me. You know what I'm gonna like." So what I am is an insurance for both parties, and this is where I believe that I finally found my place in the supply chain. In the case of Edison, in real life today, he is just a producer. He does not have the bandwidth to export coffee, keep track of it, email you information, send you an electronic invoice, get it to the place it needs to be to get shipped. And then if then that package gets lost and you already paid, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, I can't do anything about it." That is where with KWC we are just a safety net. Now, same thing as a producer. I order a coffee. Sometimes, I have trust issues. I'm like, hey, I need 50% up front. I need 100% up front. I make sure that the moment I'm paid, and if people want to see it, I have the producer's receipt and I give the producer the money the moment that steps into my warehouse.
Yep.
And that's where I exist for the producer or the coffee grower. How I have built the network, I've built the trust from them to pay them in Colombia as fast as possible. If you need terms, who do I talk to? I don't talk to my team. I don't talk to my bank. I talk to the producer. That's my partner. We need 30 days. Okay. Hey, Edison, can you give me 30 days? How much coffee is it? This much, but it's sold. All right, Juan, here you go. 30 days. I trust you. He's not trusting the roaster. It's me. Because
Yeah.
if someone doesn't get paid in country, my team is responsible. He'll come towards, KWC, Colombia. That's where I exist. That's where the supply chain has those links. Coffee didn't land how it was supposed to. It was aged. All right, I gotta look back. What happened? What was the mistake? Who packaged? What coffee was it? Was it blended? when this happens and a producer is focusing on doing extraordinary coffee, fermenting coffee, leading a staff himself, and milling his coffee, it's a lot. Things start to get out a little bit of out of control.
What would you say is your number one value add proposition that you're giving to a roaster? If somebody says, "Why should I work for KWC? Why should I work with KWC?" What is your first value add prop?
No BS.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
like
number one is no bullshit. Um, no bullshit away from like the story to the price to how I got it. Any real information you want to know, I will tell you. It's not something I want to like publicly put out there. And the number one thing that became something new in the last 2 years is quality people. Uh, I'm sure maybe you've experienced it in your time in Panama, but I love my people and I love Latin and Central America. But sometimes we don't buy coffee from the nicest people, the nicest humans. And
that.
it's not about nice to me. I think it's a quality human. How do they affect their environment? How do they affect the community?
Yeah.
Are they negatively affecting it? Am I feeding into a huge monster here that just wants to take over the region? What am I doing there? Do I belong helping this guy get his coffee on the table? So I buy from quality people and I hope to always sell to quality people.
Okay.
That's where that I always come back to that. So again, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, what does that mean?" I'm like, I don't care about their coffee. I am so grateful that I live in a Coca-Cola of coffee. I live in Colombia. Anybody's grandmother can make Arabica 100% clean wash coffee, and it'd be like, this is quality, right? This is good. Anybody could do that, but what I'm doing is this from a good person? Like, is this a good source? And I evaluate that by how I see them treat my team,
Yeah.
how I see them treat their team, how I see them do business with me. In business, there's always going to be conflict. So I always remember, I'm like, Steven Martinez is our head roaster, head of QC with me. I'm like, hey, when we give him that feedback on his yield, what was his response? When we have conflict, are we able to get through the conflict? Is this someone that we see growth with in the next 10 years, in a decade? Do they trust us? Are they trying to go around us? Which is fine. Please do, if that's what you're able to do. But the producer we work with, any roaster that reaches out in our market, for example, that main market is US, this is what they do. They go, hey, you can reach out to Juan or you can reach out to all these other importers that have my coffee. And I appreciate that so much because they're not taking food from my table. And the reason that they're using me is because they know that they could trust me to get the product where it needs to be and make that easy for the roaster. And I
No
think that's
BS.
something that I've been like, yeah, no BS on it. And if they want to talk to them, I'll tell you what producer knows English. I'll tell you which one doesn't. I'll tell you, hey man, that's the wrong name on the bag. That's not a producer. He's the processor. Are you okay with that? Some people are like just putting names for fun. I'm like, man, that's his sister. It's just one guy. And they're like, oh, but why do you gotta tell me that? I'm like, that's my job, man. Cool. I was a barista for over 8 years in the US and I picked up every other bag that I picked up that was Colombian. I've met the producer. And never in my wildest dream, I thought it was the dude with the hat picking the coffee. And when I met him, they live in an apartment in Medellín. That's amazing. And I want to be able to say that. I want to say, hey, man, they're good.
Yeah.
You're buying their coffee. They're good. They're a good person. But please, let's not act like we're saving the world. I'm not going to act like that. I'm not here to save the world of coffee. But if I can come here and clean some bullshit out, heck yeah, man, I'm gonna clean out the BS. Now that I believe little by little I've learned and earned my stripes in the industry through people like going around me, people like trying to hurt my business, people trying to hurt my team, all these things. I want people to know this, like Colombia, all these regions, this in Panama, it's beautiful. Yes, of course, it's costly.
Yeah.
Hey, but this is coffee cowboys. This is the Wild West. They see little Juan and Cole here, like, oh, these dudes are from North America. I think they got it, and they don't. You got to get yourself be valued. They got to see, and you got to get yourself respected, and see why you belong. And me being Colombia, yeah, it helps the language.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm not gonna get effed over by somebody. It doesn't mean that someone's not gonna see me as like some little old kid over here trying to like make a business happen. So I just changed my techniques and I continue to evolve. The business is very, very organic. Um, but honestly, it's only been on the rise. We've only gotten better through every downfall, every hardship, if it was financial. I mean, I told you this a couple months ago, brother, and a lot of people that don't know. I mean, AWC, yes, we're global. Man, I worked out of my kitchen for 4 years. Filter built in, EK. What else do you need? I just need to cup some coffee with three people, maybe just myself. But I'll put it this: for WBC, when you reached out, you're like, "Hey, I want to taste the best coffee." How about Cole? I trusted myself and I trusted my team, and I said, "Cole, I'm gonna send you these four coffees. I already knew where the source was gonna be. I didn't want to BS you. I sent you the PDF of the prices. We don't have to mention who, but they were exact prices because I'm like, this is not my game. And I told you one of these coffees is gonna win WBC. And I think of the six coffees that I sent you, it was one, two, and three
Hmm. Yeah.
of that menu that I sent you. And I was so proud because I was like, dope. It didn't have to go through me. I wanted to see if I knew how to cup coffee. I understood this game. If it comes into like competition or your cafe, my job is I studied the market, like the global market of coffee, to be able to make sure the coffee I sent you works for you.
Right.
It's not only a coffee that, oh, you're going to win. It's not only a coffee that's going to be the best in your cafe. It's like questions I ask are, how do you roast? Who you're roasting for? What is your brand about? Same thing as now going a little bit into coaching. Who are you in coffee? What do you want to represent? Are you just trying to win? Or are you trying to play a score sheet? I mean, I'll find you a coffee to do that, but are you going to be proud of that coffee?
Right.
This goes back to what I said. You said, hey, what's different? I'm not going to BS. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't want to be fake nice. If we talk on the phone, man, and it's not like, boom, match right away, it's okay, man. It's Colombia, man. I'll send you to my friends. I'm not going to mention, but it happens. Some of you are like, Juan, I didn't find anything. Like, I'm like, here's my other friend's number. He's an exporter. Oh, why do you do that? I'm like, this is just not the place. Some coffee shops are just not for everybody. That's okay. We can't have a coffee shop for everybody.
You can't have a business that's for everybody. There's no, the business is supposed to solve a problem, right? If you're not solving a problem, providing a solution to the world, then your business is really not doing probably its full purpose or potential. And there's no way that your business can fix every person's needs that's going to contact you on a annual scope. It's like, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
So I
And
really think that's a powerful thing to say, that it's like to acknowledge and to humble yourself, to know that what I do is not for everybody. It's coffee, but it's not everybody's cup, and it's not going to work on every menu, and it's not going to work in every market. I think that's really powerful, man. I think a lot of people don't have that realization with what they're doing, the projects they're building. They want to make them accessible to absolutely everybody, and they get lost in the noise of curation to meet this need versus that need versus this one, and it becomes very convoluted.
yeah, man, it happens with producers. I think something I wanted to share with you that I've been working on in a while, and I think you're a great person to share with on this podcast is coffee for me, from origin to destination, is a mirror. If you build a coffee shop the way you built a farm or a producer builds it, say, and you try to make a co-ferment and wash and the natural, and you have the geishas, and you want to do regionals, you're going to take away quality in some area. So everything down the chain, if you look at it, it's a mirror. So easy. This is my favorite topic. Everyone's like, my baristas are leaving. There's so much turnover. It's so hard to find work. Well, at Origin, there's barely any coffee pickers, man. Why? Because that producer, yeah, the head honcho, yeah, he's not paying them enough. What? Oh, what does that sound like? Oh, it sounds like the owner of the cafe that doesn't pay his roaster or his workers enough, so maybe they don't want to stay. Does anybody want to say anything about it? No, but it's the same thing. I think if a producer that's a head honcho and the owners of the cafe spoke, they have the same issues and they're going to have the same problem. Who's your front lines? Your baristas? The people cupping. Who's doing your QC at your farms? The people cupping before I get the coffee. The people who are giving me the service, because I am a buyer. Who is giving me the customer service? Only the producer? No. If I have a bad cupping experience and you tell me that double fermentation is that you fermented the coffee 2 times, I'm going to be like, I don't want to be here. This is not, they don't know what they're doing. Just like if you sell me a filtered coffee that told me that it was washed and it was a natural coffee, or I ask for a filter coffee and you're giving me a cappuccino, I might be like, this barista doesn't know the job he's doing. I'm just not going to come back here again.
Right.
Coffee order, coffee order. It's a mirror. And we just don't want to accept it. Roasters, oh, Juan, but man, can you give me a better price? Like it's financially hard and capital. What do you, what, the producers? Yeah, he got a bunch of loans just to get me the coffee. Same thing. I mean, I think you guys should talk
Right.
and you guys will get to a middle point. And nobody, I really heard very little people talk about this. And maybe for me, my origin, I'll say for Colombia and I'll say for part of Central America that are, man, I respect them. They're educated. Guatemala, we've been sourcing for Guatemala for years before, one of the first specialty coffee regions to be able to export coffee. Man, those guys, full English, full scholars, they have cafes. Why are you going to an importer, man? Just call them. Tell them what you need, and they're going to tell you why they can't.
Yeah.
They're going to know their cost of production. They're going to know what's going on. It's the same thing all the time. It's the same stories all the time. Oh, but it's that I want to know how many birds they have. Man, we have 80 original migrations to Colombia. We have some of the most beautiful birds. I don't want to take anything away from that. But I can't pay $10 more for your coffee because you have all these birds in your farms. Someone's gonna get upset about that.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you. I think we in specialty coffee get so distracted by the story. We think everything is about the story in terms of the sales. We forget a lot about the cup. We forget a lot about the fact that what you just said is, the farm is a business. And we can't cut corners as cafes because, our margins aren't good enough, or our challenges over here. We can't ask them to impose our challenges onto them and say, hey, I need a discount. Hey, I need terms. Hey, I need this. It's like they're running a business too. And if we disrespect that, that's going to impede on the quality. That's going to impede on the potential. That's going to impede on the future of our industry, right?
100%. I'm
It's
saying,
going to impede on the birds, man.
nah, I think it's just a side story. I guess I used to have producers and still today send me a WhatsApp that looked like ChatGPT did it. And I would know more about the farm environment than I knew about what the coffee was going to taste like before tasting it. And I was confused. I mean, it's destination's fault. It's our fault because we wanted to market to everybody like, hey, come to my quality. I don't say specialty anymore. I say quality. Come to my quality shop. We're saving the world of coffee because it has a certification on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Apex guy that you talked to as well talked about certifications and why he's been sourcing for years, and people would want to get organic because it just says organic. And then people don't want to say that to get certified organic in a country it just has to be your co-op. And if I'm not a certified grower and I turn into your co-op, my coffee's not organic. Sorry, organics, they don't exist. Somebody just paid for the certification, so it just goes to them.
Yeah. There's a harsh truth.
And they're gonna come back, and they're gonna come back, and they're gonna be like, I've talked to the organic people. Oh no, but we went, and I'm like, ooh. The main thing with KWC that I've talked in other podcasts is we're asking the wrong question. Let's ask the right questions. Ask me the right question, and ask producers the right questions, and maybe you'll find like a real answer. But asking them why they're so passionate about coffee is just not. It's, that's not the right question.
Right. Right. So we,
In my
we talked
opinion.
about the value that KWC adds to the roaster. What would you say is your elevator pitch to, you find a new farm, you find a new producer, you want to work with them? What do you tell them? Why should they work with KWC?
That's a good question. I think that I'll use Paola Trujillo in this one. I love her, man. I love sourcing from her. She cups coffee. She mills. People who work with KWC is because they're gonna get treated like a real human. I've always talked about when I came here. at least being Colombian, I got to level. So as I can level with a roaster when it comes to the negotiation, I will level with a producer. What does that mean? I have to share with her my knowledge that I know about pricing to tell her, hey, your coffee is either going way too cheap or going way too expensive. But also, most importantly, I am the other line of quality control for them. So what do I talk about Paola? Paola literally has all amazing coffee. We bought over 100 lots from her, but the first three I gave them back, and it was horrible for her. She's like, "What
Okay.
do I do with this coffee?" And it was already Excelso, which is green coffee. Luckily, it was when the price mark was up. And you know what Juan did? I said, Paola, I will be the first person to tell you this is not the coffee that I purchased. I am not going to take it, and I can't pay for it. So the market is high. You could sell it in the local market. She works for me because I am going to talk to her like a person, like a business should, because I
Right.
respect her enough that I'm like, hey, I think you should get better here. Or, hey, you know what? You're actually doing an incredible job. And then when I see her, I don't see her as a dollar amount. I don't see her on what she's producing. I see her as an ally in my team. She adds to my network. We're nothing without our producers. We just want to be the pipeline. I want to make sure that when Paola sends her samples, someone's following up for her. I want to make sure that when she sends her washer naturals that are very different or advanced fermentations or very terroir, I want to make sure that the person that's getting them is not going to burn their coffee because I want to sell it to Summer Salt Roasting out of Oklahoma. Sorry, I'm just picking an area that maybe drinks more dark roasted coffee. Am I against it? No. But I'm not going to send you the $20 geisha, brother. That's not a coffee that I believe that is quality. That's going to go to a roaster that maybe he does a very quality dark roast. I'm not against that. I'll drink diner coffee you put any day. Be like, wow, it's gotten better. But I got to make sure her coffee goes to the best places. Who do I rep super hard? Black and white coffee roasters. One of my top three buyers in America. Why? I think that they do quality work. They showcase the producer. They're involved in competition. There's someone that I know is going to create a platform that thankfully I connected there for my producer to now be seen by all these little roasters. And I'm going to look up every roaster and be like, hey, when we go to a show, can I try your coffee? And I want to try it. And I want to see that you're roasting her work. How is she going to do that?
Hmm.
She can't. She can't produce, sell, market her coffee, get it to me, cup with me. And then also calling me to the States and taste her coffee at the place.
Right.
My niche is hard. My work is long, yes. But man, I know you've experienced it, Cole, especially with being able to, kind of import to yourself and how the system is. My first European trips, I bag the coffee, I watch it get bagged. I buy from the producer. I fly to the destination and I unpackage it and quality control with my roaster.
That's value
Yeah.
add right
Is
there.
it,
If I've ever heard of value add.
man, is it a cost? Yeah. But I didn't even care. I think I had so much fun that I'm like, man, I saw the guys close this bag in Colombia. I landed with you. And then I'm with my homie that I'm trying to put him on and I'm going to give him the best coffees. And I'll tell him, I'm like, hey, I'm barely bagging this, but I'm banking on you. And that same guy today, Harmony Coffee Roaster, gotta shut him out. Danny, he started on a bullet. Right now, he has a 5, 6 kilo roaster. He cannot take on any more volume. He went from buying 2 bags to 2,000 kilos. But we work together and he reps. He doesn't tell me, send me samples. He goes, bro, you know what? I trust you.
Just send it.
My producer, Paola, just send it. And when my producers do that, my producers come to me and like, hey, what do we send? Because what would producers do back in the day or today's day? They're going to send Culture Rose that knows how to cup, been around the world, 50 coffees, and 35 of those are just master cold.
Right.
So I'm going to tell Paul, and I'm going to tell Edison, I'm going to tell Wilton, hey, man, nah, dude, I sat down and had coffee with this guy. He definitely doesn't like these things. Oh, really? You did? Yeah. I don't want to sound like, nah, I'm being a man. KWC, know the people, know the process, know the coffee. Like, I know 95%. I can't say everybody. I'll say 90% where our coffee goes, who's roasting it, how they roasting it. I know. I'm at that limit right now where I'm needing help because they'll ask me like, where did this coffee go? What coffee? What was the flavor notes? I will tell you today because we organically are still that size. And I think that's the value I want to add to my producers to create that bond and that trust. And man, the moment they want to fly, cool. Producers today use catered to export. It's another line. I don't talk about it too much, but through us, we quality control, we package their roasted coffee and I ship it to America and I charge for them.
Okay.
Colombians have a bunch of family in the US. They want to send a couple bags and they want to put it in their little coffee shop. Why can't I open the door for them to roast their own coffee? What do I get out of it? Maybe I make some money on the shipping, but most importantly, I'm supporting my producer to open another line of income.
Right.
How does that help me in the long run? When any negotiated coffee, dude, I'm sending all our coffee. Why the heck are we not going to help them out?
Right. Right. Yeah,
And I
it's a
think the same
clear
way.
you're simplifying their life in any way, shape, or form possible, right? And making it more easy to access the market. You're touring the market, you're figuring out the market, learning what people want, where the pulse is, and then you're bringing all that knowledge and expertise back to Colombia to share with Paula, Edison, Wilton, others that are part of your family that you're building. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I had such a hard time in the beginning. Look, in Colombia, to be an exporter, you need to open an LLC, it costs some money. And you can sign up and you could be an exporter in a day. I'm sure you went through the same thing in Panama where they made it seem like it was the most impossible thing in the planet Earth. And they probably told every coffee before that. That's what.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. But
You go for it.
me, I tell them, hey, man, it's super easy. And then I just catch them with one thing. I'm like, you are going to have to invoice, pay taxes, and all this just a little bit more. But dude, you can do it. It's easy. And I will show you.
Right.
And halfway through showing them, they're like, nah, it's good, bro. You can do it. This is your job. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is my value. If it's just punching in paperwork and I get to cup the best coffees in the world and get them to my friends, man, to my homies. What I tell producers, like producers are my homies. When they go around to the producer comes to me. When the producer goes to my homies come to me. Everything, unfortunately and fortunately, comes back to our crew. Good news or bad news. And I love it because I built such strong bonds. And you know this with the network, with years of competition, of just being there, supporting how I can, learning, being a student, has always been my thing. And the best thing to do is be like, no, it's not. I wanna push them like, yes, do it. I want you to do it because I want you to feel what it feels to do my job and to know why I exist. And they start getting it. And when I open that door, instead of making it like, oh, it's so hard, it's impossible, they just pass the baton on. They just pass it on. And I'm like, all right, man, I got it from here.
That's beautiful, man. That's the way business should be, right? That's all trust that you've established. That's a network of positivity, a network of trust, a network of value that you're building there. Absolutely admire what you're doing.
And I hope so. I never studied business a day in my life. Uh,
Healthcare, baby.
yeah, I was trying to be bankrupt by the time I was 30. That didn't happen. Um, yeah, man, I put everything into the business my whole life.
Hell yeah.
Everything. Caused everything to be in it. Gave it still giving it 150%. And every day, man, I get to travel the world. I'm not a traveling nurse. I'm a traveling barista. And I love it, man. I want to show people you can do it. And I think that you really got to go all in and it's not impossible, man.
Right. No, man, you're a true entrepreneur in the coffee space. I think it's amazing to see. Lots of people, I think, will take lots of inspiration from hearing your story and hearing about the business that you're building. I want to build on the conversation because you are more than just your business. You are more than just KWC. You're also you're an avid competitor. You've been on the competition stage numerous times. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about competition and what that world means to you and why you continue to throw your hat into the arena and participate?
Yeah, man. Like many other people, competition for me was a stage to build my network to meet other people. Um, I started competing in 2019. My first national was in Kansas City, in the U.S. I've done 3 U.S. nationals and 3 Colombian nationals. I'm a dual citizen for anyone listening, so I can compete in both countries as long as it's not in the same season. I am a 3-time finalist, 2 times in Colombia and 1 time in the US, placed in third in 2023. And then I've been in the last 2 years, I've placed fifth and fourth in Colombia. Man, when I started competing, it was just a challenge for myself. I love sports. I'm a basketball fanatic. It was a way to showcase discipline. I heard a barista once say that one season was like 3 years behind a super high flow bar. And I was like, okay, I want to do that thing. Sarah Fernack, shout out to her, works for Allied Coffee. She took me to a local competition. She's like, oh, if you do well in this, there's a brewing competitions. She's like, I'll show you what the real competitions are like. Um, and I went, I gave it, she got me scared. She said, go back there and don't make any friends. I think she was playing with my mind, but it
Don't make
worked.
any friends. I like it. Okay.
She says, don't talk to anybody, focus. She's like, you're not there to make friends. And I was like, whoa, I was like, this is serious. I won. I won my brewing competition using clevers.
Okay. Okay.
I never knew clevers were going to come back at a V60 form with a switch, but man, I was onto something. But but anyways, I won with clevers back in the day using a Bolivian coffee roasted by Panther Coffee. Super bold roast at the time. And she took me to the SCA. And I never got into brewers, man. It wasn't my game. It was so hard. Coffee nerds. It was like owners of companies. It was crazy because brewing, you could control so many variables, and I was way too new. I got really close. We used to do preliminaries in the US. And then I did barista, and I was a timekeeper for many years. This part of the story also goes a little bit into coal. My first year, I got to be a timekeeper for people like Andre Allen, Dylan Simmons out in Onyx Coffee Lab. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is where the cool kids are. This is my game, man. This is where I want to be. I want to be these people. Um, and it's just, of course, it has the biggest platform. And for me at the time, it was the most difficult. I did it for myself, brother. I did it for my own ego at the time, and that changed a lot. It went from me trying to pursue who I was going to be to now I throw my hat in for my team. I throw my hat in for my producing network. I throw in my hat, and they know, and I love them for the team that I built around competition. You know, Marcos Iglesias, Kyle Remage, Angela, um, Jenny Borrego, you know, Fia Martinez, you know, all these people just sitting at my table and them believing in me, man, I do it for them. It just changed so much. And thanks to them, like they gave me the platform, like, Juan, you could do this. You have a good voice up there. Um, and that's the reason I do it today. I think when I go with Steven and people recognize me or something from the finals, or I compete in Colombia, they're like, oh, this dude's gonna finalist in the US, he's cupping with us. Producers will be like stoked. And I'm like, hey, trust me, it's not a big deal. And I'm grateful for it, of course, but I simmered it down really quick. I'm like, hey, I do this so people just trust me a little bit more when I sell your coffee.
Yeah.
Does it work? Yes, of course, it works. But the way I explain to people, and I think I shared this with you before, and I've heard the podcast, is it shows roasters, like it shows a producer, that our company now as a whole could start and finish a project. Because a 15-minute presentation is not something you do a week before. It's years. And
Mm-hmm.
it showcases my discipline. And it showcases now my team's discipline, my team's drive, and what projects we're working on. And that's what it showcased me as a barista. Competitions taught me disciplines.
I
And it
love
taught
that.
me like a coffee community that I didn't know existed. Yes, we're not there to compete against other baristas. I'm there to beat myself every year. That's just me
100%.
versus me. My best season, yeah, 2023 in the US. I can never take it away. With my first finals, man. Yes, I didn't talk to nobody. I was mad at everybody. I had been living in Colombia for 2 years, and you could ask people in the back. My brother, like a long story I love to share is like I went there from the top six. So Isaiah wins that year. Sixth
Yep.
place is Frank Law. I'm sourcing. Isaiah Archetype buys coffee from me now, just from this. Frank Law, I sourced his 2024 barista chip, seeing someone work with me as their source and then win a thing I've been working on for so many years. Somebody would say, oh, that sucks. And I was like, dude, nah, man. I just found a different way to win. And it's through these people. And I'm still want to compete and I still want to beat my friends and myself. But I'm just grateful that now we are starting to be known as the guys that know how to source some like high level competition coffees to get you up there. You know, 8 months later, for 2025, Justin Bull, homie as well. KWC sourced first, second, fourth place, and six semifinalist brewing competitors coffee. And
In
I
the
was
US.
like, US and the US.
Wow.
And I remember having this like funny moment with my roaster. We're still in the kitchen, brother. And Justin calls me, he's like, we won. And I was like, dude, that's almost like a two for two there. And I looked at Steve and I'm like, you're not gonna get this, but in the movie Jobs, Steve Jobs is in the garage and he builds this Mac and he says, "Welcome to Apple." And I told Steven this 8 months ago, I said, "Welcome to KWC." Today we are turnover rate went from 2 days to 18 days. We're gonna buy 6 times the coffee we bought last year. We're gonna do 4 containers here from two. And we finally have a coffee lab in the last 4 months. I'm gonna pay my fourth month of rent this month. And that's like that to me, that's why I compete up those. Like
Yeah.
just to be that example of like all these things, like yes, you don't have to be a competitor to be successful in coffee. But being around there for me was incredible. How do you tie into the story? Well, again, I've done this to you before when the first time we officially met. And I was a timekeeper for Cole in 2019, Boston. It was my first World Barista Championship. I was just a timekeeper. I've been to every WBC after that. Now the calibration barista. And Cole said, "Time, coffee isn't about me. Coffee is about dance." And after that speech, I was like, yeah, I want to be up here. And because of people like Cole is the reason I ever want to go to Worlds. And I've used that line in my own competitions. A little more aggressively than Cole. I got points taken away for not having really good customer service. Uh, couldn't do it like you did it. But I think that I love that part of the script was I want to focus on achievable goals like progress year after year. And I don't know how much my team makes. I don't know how much I make. I don't know how much KWC makes. But year after year, we progress. Year after year, we grow. Year after year, everything is paid. Things are paid. And I'm okay with that for now. I know that eventually we need to fix that, but honestly, I am learning. And that's the honest truth for people listening. But all I know is that we're getting better every year. We're becoming better people first, and we're always getting better coffee. And for that is why I keep going.
That's beautiful, man. Stay humble, stay grounded, stay hungry. Try to make today a little bit better than yesterday. If yesterday was the best day you've ever had in your life, fuck, why not? Why not try to make today a little bit better than that, right? What do you have to lose? You got people spend so much time thinking about the risk of loss rather than the ability to gain. And gain doesn't have to be financial. Gain doesn't have to be capital. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can be experience. It can be friendship. It can be network, and it can be so many things. And I think, there's just so many positive elements that come from the mindset that you're explaining you have when entering the competition space or coffee space as a whole. I think you're very linear and parallel in what you're doing with KWC and what you're putting out on the stage in the competition scene. When are we going to see you back on stage? I think you just got me fired up, man. I got some tingles as you were talking there. I got a little shy when you quoted me. I got all sorts of emotions. You just hit me on a whole roller coaster. When are we going to see you back up there, Juan?
So this year I decided that I won't be competing in Colombia. I kind of burned some bridges there this last season, which is totally fine. We're gonna have other people represent us in Colombia, but I will be competing in the United States Barista Championship. I know we always say this, but I think this will be my last season. It'll be my seventh season in total in the US. But that's when you'll see me competing next. And I hope I get picked from the list to go up there. I think it's a really good time to be up there. I think that with everything happening in North America at the moment, especially me being a big example of that, it's very important for me to step up and show people everything I've worked on in the last 10 years. But yeah, you'll see me competing this next season for 2026 Panama.
Can I ask you, going into this year, 2026, I suppose would be the cycle that you're competing for. You just said Panama. What is your purpose? You said it's changed from year 1 to year 6 of competition. Is year 7 following in a similar trajectory that your previous competition would have been, or do you have a different mindset, a different perspective going into this quote unquote last season? If anybody wants to put in the comments whether this will really be Juan's last season or not, I'm curious too.
If and when I win, it would be my last season. um, the mindset. I think the mindset that changed for competitors listening and stuff. I've always treated like a long project. I learned how much work it takes to be in finals consistently. Um, let's put it like this. My mindset, for people to understand in the beginning, was I want to go to three nationals. Nationals in the US are incredibly hard.
Yeah,
Anybody going up there is ready. We have so many filters to get up there, and competitors is not because coffee's better in America. No, it's not that, guys. We just have so many more filters. Competition is just older. We have so much more world judges, and those world judges now have competitors, and they train them, so they understand the squish,
of course.
and people understand that. So I was just wanting to get to nationals, and I remember getting to finals and walking with Steven in Colombia, and people were like, "Oh, these got to get to finals again." And I was like, Kyle Ramage from Black and White was like. Nowhere Coffee back in finals once again. I was like, dude, I made it to three finals. But now I know what it takes to get here. The work is okay. What do we do to win? I think every barista goes through this, and the best thing that I'm doing this year, in my opinion, is keeping it more honest than ever in terms of maybe it's not my style, but something I heard in one of your podcasts that stood out was I always wanted to be Andrea Allen. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be cool to road. I wanted to be Kelly. But in my last 3 years, you know who I found? Juan Diaz. And I found who that person is. And
Yeah,
when I found
baby.
myself, I learned how to express myself. And when I learned, and that's how I got to finals. Now that all that's come together and I built a team, uh, really enough, now that like F1 is so famous and people are jumping on the bandwagon, people are watching racers now, like they understand what's going on. Well, I'm kind of treating it that way. I built a team around me first that's very strong, that's going to focus on their areas. And my approach is really to change my style and step away from the science facts that if that's not me, I got to figure out how I want to present this on stage. The way it's evolved is that something I've never done, and I mean, I think I'm also one of the only representatives that can do it, is that what's going on politically in the US right now that affects coffee, that affects people, of course being Latinos. We've never had a Latino champion ever for a producing country,
Yep, yep.
and I've never wanted to play that card because I just hadn't filled those shoes yet. I wasn't ready. And I could just say in a humbling way, like, I think I'm ready and I want to be that representative. And no pun intended, but I want to show what actually makes America great, which is this melting pot of people that are from all over the world that we buy coffee from. And if anybody could do that and have that voice in a bilingual way, well, man, I try to tell the same thing, the same story in the state of Colombia. A big thing that got me a little exiled last season was I started with saying coffee's not from Colombia. Yeah, that
Whoops.
would get you. Whoops. Yeah, we have a big thing in Colombia, of course. I know you've been. Cafe Colombia, yes.
Of course.
But coffee is not originated in Colombia for those listeners who don't know. But we just make it extraordinary in Colombia. So what I was trying to explain was, hey, you know, I'm not born here. But me moving to Colombia made me an extraordinary coffee person. Just like it makes this coffee extraordinary. And I think I want to take a little bit of that to the US and share that story. That's honest, it was true, and it's mine. And yeah, it's my approach for this season. Sugar's ready, coffee's picked, just like
Oh,
that. That's
coffee's
how you got.
picked.
That's how you got. That's how you got to be. Well, always open to change, but when you're at Origin, like now, it was just like talking up Paola and be like, "Hey, this is what I want." My funnest thing is it's not at her, not at cupping table. It's me with her in the car. This is my friend, and I'm like, she's like, "Juan, but this is not my style," and I'm like, "I love it. That's what I want." I'm like, "That's my theme." She gave me my theme. She doesn't know yet. She might not listen to this podcast. But when I'm up there and I call time and I know she's gonna be there front row, that's different, man. The competition has evolved so much. It's so much fun. She's part of my team. She might not know it,
Right.
but when I'm up there, I'm gonna be like, hey, this was built a different way. This is not my producer style, but check it out. Here's how we do this thing. So I'm excited, man. And I hope you are too. I
I'm
know
I'm
that
absolutely excited, man. I'm fired up.
I think one of my proudest coffee moments, I think, for people that don't know, that Ko and I got close because you invited me to a forward cupping, or you were doing that competition where people were roasting the same coffee.
Yeah, in Portland, 2023.
Yeah, and before my competition, even if I had to be focused on comp, I'm like, wow, Ko invited me to go cup these coffees. I never cared for a moment that we cupped over 100 Rwandan coffees.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I'm like, okay, just watch my video. And I'm like, can you come to calibration? He's like, dude, I'm busy. We're way far. Forward is like super busy. And I'm like, don't. He's like, I can't. I only made it the last day. I'm like, I'm going to finals. And he said, what? He straight up looked at me and said, okay, okay. Well, I made it to finals. And that day was my dial at 8 a.m. And Flo was the first person sitting there next to my coach for that dial in 2023. And so it was some of
When
the best work
somebody
I ever
asks,
put down.
when somebody asks for help, man, and they're a good person, you gotta respect the request, you know?
I mean, for me, it was crazy, man, because 4 years before that, I'm watching you do your thing, watching you go to finals. So for me, it was a moment of combination of work, and it gave me a lot of drive to keep going.
Nice.
And then just like you, I try to sit at as many tables of quality people that I can as well, because that was my turn.
It's at the end of the day, you telling that story. At the end of the day, the effort that took me to be there is very small, right? But clearly the impact or the meaning of me being there is obviously large based on the fact that you just told that story, and that's a memory for you and worthwhile of sharing here. And the reason I zoom in on that is just a friendly reminder to anybody that's listening that you don't know how your actions and your decisions, whether large or small, on the energy out type of momentum can really have a big change, right? For me, that was like, it's a nice moment for me, don't get me wrong, but it's like I showed up to help a good dude because he asked me for help, and he said I'm gonna be in the finals, and I'm like, shit, dude's in the finals, like, yeah, I'm gonna go show up. And that's a small moment, karmic moment, whatever you want to call it. I think lots of people can give that little bit of time should somebody ask, regardless of what the request. I think give back to your friends in the community, because who knows what sort of impact or mark that will leave, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that for a lot of baristas out there, I mean, roasters, couplers, I mean, away from competition, I think in coffee, we built these like tables built of kings. And we always think as people coming in, like, we're not allowed to sit there.
Yeah.
And I think Kyle Remage, when he opened the doors to me, he allowed me to sit next to people who were runner-ups, champions. He showed me that they had the same issues that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me feel so much better because I felt like I was in the wrong route. I was in the wrong place that I belonged. I was just learning. And I think that I want to tell people that if you sit at a table where you're nervous and you're scared to speak and you're cupping and you just think these people are way better than you, it's not true.
No.
They're not better than you. You've just been working on it a little bit longer. You're going to get there if you keep it up. And it's hard to teach that. And then we've had so many cool moments, man. Like Greece, WBC, with Borum.
I was
And
going to tell the
then,
story of Busan. Can I tell the story of Busan?
yeah, there's Busan. And there's another one. Unfortunately, he's not on here today with Crosby at Greece as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we'll leave that one for Crosby. But go ahead and tell the Busan story because that was fun too. It's just, I'm always around, which is funny, man. Like, it's just funny. It's cool.
Always around and always providing value. You're a man of value. And this one is both, it's dual value. And we'll get to that at the end of the story here. It's the first day. Well, it's the preliminary round of the WBC. And I'm dialing in. It's Dave, myself, and Mikael. We're dialing in. I think there's four machines sitting there, and we're on the closest one to where people can kind of stand, and in the back room behind the stage at WBC, for the people that don't know, there's usually 4 machines set up that people get to dial their coffee before they roll out on stage and get a feel and presence for how their coffee is going to perform. In that moment, we get an hour. It's the 3 of us, it's locked in, we're focused, we've strategized what we're doing, et cetera, et cetera. And at a certain point I look up and Juan and I kind of lock eyes. We, have that I see you across the room type of moment. And I don't know if it's right away or if you were there for a little bit, but Juan flips a Canadian quarter to me. Like classic, the way that it plays in my memory is like and like flips it across the room type of thing, slow-mo on the rotation of the quarter is how it plays back in my mind. I catch it obviously perfectly out of the air. And then I'm just kind of holding this quarter for a little while and I'm not interacting. I don't think we're talking at this point because I'm still focused on this dial. And I'm holding the quarter in my hand for a little while and I put that quarter onto our cart. And then we continue on and I lose track of the quarter. It's not, at this point, the quarter doesn't have that much value to me. It's just, I'm wondering, why does Juan have this Canadian quarter? And so we touch base a little later on. I get the story. I think you flew through Vancouver. You got some change, whatever. You threw it to me for a good luck charm. I can't find it. I don't know where it's gone. It's gone onto the cart, all of our dirty dishes, whatever, coffee that's left, the signature drink maybe getting built after this. It's all in the cart. It's a mess. It's a shit show. We got maybe an hour or so before Mikael rolls out on stage. And he advances, spoiler alert, he advances to the semifinals. And then from the semifinals, he is the very last name called to go into the finals. And very emotional moments. If you know Mikael's story, and you can find that on a different podcast, I won't go down that pathway. Very emotional moment, but his wife comes up to me, and Yessie, and she is absolutely bawling. Mikael's crying. I got some tears going on. We're all feeling this. And she's crying and she's crying and she opens her hand and she's holding, like absolutely squeezing to death, this quarter. She has found the quarter on the cart. She has no idea where it has come from. She has no idea the story behind it. She has just taken it as like a memento. I don't know, a good luck charm, some sort of, she found some energy in it and she saw something in it that she decided she would hold it. 2 days, 3 days, whatever the amount of time has been. I think she still has it. I believe she still has it at their house in Indonesia. And, it's like such a small thing and such a small moment, but also just has this huge energy impact, let's say, on the progression of our week then in Busan. And I think the progression of our life based on, the results and all that sort of thing. And I don't think Juan at the time realized that when he was throwing this 25 Canadian cents to me, the true value of what that action would actually unlock into, little things, man, big impact. Kind of wild.
Yeah, I think at that time, I think I heard it more from David. The little detail there that you don't know was I got 2 of them, and I right away when I got the 2 of them, I thought about you and David because we had connected in Greece.
Yeah.
And I put them away, and I'm like, I'm gonna give one to Cole and one to David, and I gave you each one. And when everything was done, yeah, he had one, and he's like, dude, the coin. He's like, look, she has one, and when he won, she's like holding it, looking at him hold his, because I had given you each one, just like as homies, just like I don't know if good luck, but what I do for me in that moment, what I do remember was I was super burnt out. I had done 2 seasons, 2023, and 6 months later I did Colombia and I got to finals and I was dead and I was like I quit and I was super tired. I was happy to be there supporting US with Frank Law, and when I saw you guys put down that work with in Nike, I was like, oh crap, there could still be something fun to do here. And I remember right after his routine, when he was done, first day, I was like, you're gonna win. Like I shook his hand and I looked right at him like, you're gonna win. Just do better every day. Like I just looked at him like, yo, you're gonna win. That's it, it's games. And I just said that because I study everybody. It's the
Yeah.
only way to get better. And watching it, I'm like, this is gonna win. I'm just happy I got to say it first. And when he won, I looked at y'all and you're like, you're trying to keep it cool. You and David, I'm like, nah, it's game. And I think that's how you should always do. I think you should always compete like it's game over. And he was super humble about it. So he was super calm, super nervous. Um, I bet like every barista, first day jitters, get that out of the way. That first round, those first
Yeah.
round jitters. And he got better every day. He came from the bottom to the top. Every day he did get better on
Yeah.
paper. Legitimately got better. So that was really cool, man. It was a big moment. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah. And yeah, man, just seeing you guys work and stuff is. And then I told you guys, I think when he was done, before I told him that, I went up to you and David and said, I hate you guys. And you said, what? And I said, yeah, now I have to keep coming back. That's what I told you. I have to come back now. There's still stuff to be done here. And I did. And that's why I still compete.
There's still space, man. There's still space for growth in the competition. There's still space for growth in the industry. There's space for growth all over the place. And if it makes you feel
Oh,
any
man,
better,
for sure.
it took me 8 years to win Canada. If it makes you feel any better, if it makes anybody listening feel any better, 2018, the first time I won, that was my 8th year competing. 9th year I won again. 10th year I did not win and I hung up the towel. And who knows, Juan? Maybe, brother, maybe we'll share a stage in 2026 Panama. What do you think? North
Right.
American representatives right here. Should we do a little foreshadowing?
Oh, man, that would be incredible. Then again, for people listening, he was going against one of the best baristas in the whole planet Earth and never quits. And Cole probably lost to Ben a couple of those times.
A couple of
Canada's
those.
tough, man.
Canada's
Couple of
tough.
those times. Canada's tough. But
They're
you
all
did
they're
win
all
back to
tough.
back.
Different reasons.
You
They're
won.
all tough.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone, and for Colombia as well, different obstacles, but I don't know if that makes me feel any better. It should. It should. It should. It should. I mean, look. Um, I tell people this is like a funny thing, and some cool people have told me this before. I've worked in a lot of cafes all over the world, Greece and stuff, and they're like, I know a lot of champions, but you're not a champion. But man, they're just very sweet to me, and they're like, you act like a champ, man. Like you're a champ. Like it doesn't matter where you win. And before I didn't understand it, and I didn't know how to own it. And now I'm proud to say I'm one of the best coffee losers ever. I've never needed to win to create KWC.
Yeah.
I just needed to keep going, and I think that yeah, I didn't win in my mind. I didn't win in the competition on paper, but our net worth as a company is my network, and I built it through that, and that's such a win, man. And I'm the guy that for now has never won, and I've made it happen, never getting past third place. Why do I say that? Because man, winning is in everything. Winning that competition or any competition is in everything. What are you gonna do with your placement? What are you gonna do with your voice? Are you just gonna finish the project and close the doors? I could have done that a lot of times, and luckily my team was around me, and I go up there, man, for them, and it's crazy. A lot of mind games, a lot of work. Here thinking about it, just it all comes in, so I get real quiet.
Yeah. There's
But
a there's a quote that I really like from a film called Cool Runnings. Do you know that movie? It's about the Jamaican bobsled team in the 1988 Calgary Olympics.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember those details, but there's a Disney movie on them.
Yeah, that might be Disney. And their coach, who's I don't remember the actor's name, but does a great job. He he makes a comment to the Jamaican bobsled team, which is an unorthodox team to compete in the bobsled Winter Olympics coming from Jamaica. He says to them, and I'm going to somewhat bastardize the quote because I don't know it perfectly, but it's something along the lines that if you believe that you are nothing without a trophy, you will be nothing when you have the trophy. Your value is not in that object. Your value is in the mindset and the pursuit of that object. And I'm going beyond the quote now and just speaking. But I think that's so true. It's like the trophy, the hardware, all that stuff, it's going to sit on a shelf. You're going to have to dust it. It's, you know, it's creating extra things in your life that you have to do. But there's so much you can win through participation and being there. And if you change your mindset and the wording of loss or losing, so many people in the competition space think that if I don't win, if I don't take home first prize, I'm a loser. And it's like, that's such a load of shit. You know, if you don't win first prize, you're taking away growth personally and professionally. You're taking away potentially a network of new friends, unless you follow Juan's advice of not talking to anybody during the competition. I suggest you try to make some new friends. You know, you're taking away new knowledge, you're taking away new opportunity, you're taking so much away, and you should be able to take away just as much, if not more, than the energy that you put in. And I think, you know, you saying the way that KWC is formed through being part of this space, and it hasn't come through winning. It doesn't have to come through winning, but fuck, it's going to be so gratifying when you're holding that trophy, you know, this year, next year, whenever it might be. Your final year, let's say this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I've heard you say that quote before, and in some of the other podcasts as well, and it stood out as well. And it makes me think about this. Like, I tell people in the most humbling way, because look, I'm proud of what I've done, and I could come off, you know, like I could come off hard to a lot of people, and I get it. But when you want to become a winner, you can never lose in your mind. So what I want to tell people is, like, in a humbling way, like, I've never lost.
Yeah, man.
All my L's, every L has been a lesson. Never lose. Even when people tell me you lost, nah, man, every L has been a lesson. I always change that in my mind. And every lesson, what do you do when you have a lesson? You learn. And I try to fail all the time, man. I don't like being comfortable with my business, with my team. You know, I could have stayed stateside. I could have never come to Oregon. And I took that risk. But yeah, man, with adding to what you're saying, like, every L has been a huge lesson. And without that, and without people, you know, a big thing, you know, when you hear rappers like, oh, I made it up here alone. Nah, ask for help. Ask anyone for help.
Yeah.
Respect whoever you think is the newest barista as much as you respect someone like, oh, I practice that so much. Anyone, anyone. I don't care who walks into the room. It's service. You could be starting coffee today. And I think that's what makes my crew a bit different. We just come from that barista line. I think you talk a lot about, when we talked about this podcast, a lot of like logistical stuff and like sales points and marketing. But how many baristas source coffee that baristas are going to prepare? How many times do we reach out to an importer and they're giving us cupping scores and notes? Like, do I sell cupping or do I sell filtered coffee in my coffee shop? Am I roasting for a competition or am I roasting for my community? And people don't think about that. I'm not trying to sell coffee. I'm trying to act like everybody in my team is about to serve that in your cafe. And how am I going to brew it? I'm trying to do your job, man. I'm trying to help you how to roast, brew, and present this coffee in
Right.
the honest way. And I think that's like a big thing that I want people to take away from this. Like, we're always going to keep it real. And if it doesn't fit in your role, it's going to be okay, man. All my respect to everybody. Everybody, the way everybody does it. I want to make sure that, disclaimers, people who do the stories, awesome. I gotta have it. I can't say no to stories if I'm the only one not doing it. And if I'm the only one not doing it, that means everybody else is doing stories. It's okay. You can't have quality without commodity. You can't have good without bad. It's the same thing, and I think it's a big realm. I think a lot of people fit. I think there's a lot of room always to grow. There's a big question you always end it with, and I'm here still always thinking about it. That's like, what do you think is gonna like stay tougher? What is it? How's your question, Cole? Please lay down that question for me. What do you think? You always ask people, what do you think is the answer
I don't know if anybody's had
to
the answer, man.
what's the question?
Where do you think we are in the industry, and where do you think we're going? I think I'll ask that question, and then we'll kind of wrap up the conversation. You put the special in specialty. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Well,
Where are we? Where are we in the growth of the industry? Are we plateauing? Are we, on the crescendo, on the way up? Give me your outlook on the future state of the market.
okay. Honest KWC answer is I probably won't have a job in the next 10 years, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. So I am always working towards evolving with the industry. What if people are
Okay.
gonna be like, what does it mean he's not gonna have a job in 10 years? Well, places like Colombia, Panama, Mexico, Guatemala, they're roasting, they're cupping more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
Mm-hmm.
they don't need to come to Origin anymore. My outlook is I have dreams of trying to figure out how to bring Origin to destination and not the other way around.
Yeah.
I have crazy ideas there. Um, where are we at? Are we plateauing? No, I think we are in a little bit of chaos because we've created so much diversity. Because finally, producers are creating producer-driven ideas. I take this line from Kyle Remage. Producer-driven ideas are: if my business is the coffee needs to taste like peach, and this is what's going to make me a little bit more money, and we need to throw some peaches in there. It's my coffee. I want people to stop thinking that coffee is theirs, and if they want to do peach, lychee, grapefruit, if they want to put condiments that are not hurting any human being, and we're putting into a roaster at over 405 Fahrenheit, that's not my. I can't do anything about that. That's their farm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the boss of that. Why do they do that? One is the producer-driven idea, and two, those kids are drinking watermelon cold ferment. They're gonna ask for the geisha later. That's where we're going. People don't want to think about that. They're just so mad about it. But maybe those people that didn't drink coffee just because they didn't find that flavor that was theirs, maybe they're gonna ask about, oh, what's this thing taste without this flavor? My opinion. Where's it going in the future as well? I think we're going to see a lot more organ roasters getting to destination. I think
Okay.
that roasters all over the world wrote a lot on outsourcing, which is totally fine. But what happens when you outsource is now the source. What happened with the outsourcing of green coffee is now going like, hey, I could compete with Juan and Cole roasting a destination just as good, just the same quantity. Are we going to support that, or are we going to go against that?
I think we're for it, man.
Are
We
we
should be
going to?
for it.
I think we should be for it. I think, by my opinion, well, I don't know anybody money. I don't take any loans. Sorry if you do, Cole.
I
Unlike
do.
green coffee. So if my producer has another stream of income, if I learned anything from the little bit of business that I've read, is if they have another stream of income, they have a breather so that I'm able to negotiate other coffees. They have more capital to bring in. They don't only have to depend on me. Our conversation changes. That's totally fine. There's gonna be places you cannot send roasted coffee, and green coffee is gonna be need to be sourced. That's totally fine. But it's also, maybe they're gonna need some feedback on how to roast their coffee better.
Sure.
So what can I do is just gear up for that. Maybe they're gonna need a way to facilitate logistics going into destination for their roasted coffee. I'm working on it. So I'm just not afraid of putting people on. I think that I'm really tired of keeping places that grow crops and everything as like the destination place, and I'm just ready for them to represent themselves. And I just hope that I get hired in the next 2 years, and I make enough good friends that they keep me on.
Yeah.
That's my mentality. It's a way to stay hungry. I can't be like that's it. It's game over. It's not. It's not.
I
I
like
think
that, man. I like that. I like that outlook. I think the idea of roasting at origin and bringing origin to destination, as you said it, I think that's it's happening. It's starting for sure. It's been there for a little while, but I'm seeing more and more of it, and I love to see it. There's a huge blossoming opportunity there for producers around the world and
yeah.
for consumers around the world. I think a fascinating idea to drink a coffee that is completed, right? Fully completed by the person that grew it. Well, I guess other than brewing
Yeah.
the cup,
Wait, see, okay.
that is not quite in the completion line yet, but maybe that's coming next.
Maybe, brother, maybe. That's what I think. I think that when people think of origin to the table, it's not through competition, it's not through storytelling, it's opening that door, it's standing next to your producer,
Yep,
and now you become an asset of your producer.
100%,
That's all.
100%.
I think
It's
it's
another
totally
value
I
creation
think I respect
opportunity.
it.
I love it.
Maybe I'll touch. That's all.
Love it, man. Juan, I want to be conscious of time. We could go on here. We could go on here forever, man.
Yeah, watch.
Tell me
Yeah, I think so, man.
where. Absolutely, your story. Your story is an inspiring story. I think your mindset, your work ethic. Lots to admire. I think people will take a lot of tangible value out of this conversation, and should they be interested in reaching out to you to further the conversation, or maybe ask questions about anything you brought up here, or to connect with you through KWC and get some origin delivered to destination, how can somebody go about connecting with you after listening to this call?
You can reach out to us at Nowhere Coffee Instagram, Nowhere Coffee Outlook, if it's via email. We do try to get to Instagram as fast as possible. And you could see a little bit of our information, offer list, roasting part of everything, as well as our green coffee side of everything on kwccoffee.com.
Sweet. Thanks, man. We'll put all that down in the show notes if anybody's looking for it, to make a quick and easy link to jump in, support Juan, connect with him and his family at KWC. Juan, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do for the industry, and thanks for continuing to be hungry and reminding us all that we got to keep moving, got to keep working, got to keep growing. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Of course.